ego will do. I'm asking, what is ego?
I'm better than
Everything
you.
that I have learned from the book.
I'm better than you.
Comparing yourself with others.
I'm better than you. That's the ego.
One definition. I am better than you.
You are not. I know that.
That is another ego.
Or I want the best of the best.
Or I know everything.
Okay, let's say that everybody has ego. Let's say that. And
The ego is your idea about yourself. How you define yourself. Ego has no existence at all. It is a construct. It's an imaginary thing. Because you imagine yourself to be something. Whatever that something defines you, now you start taking it to be the real one. Even though you have imagined it. That imagination starts becoming solid and real. As I used the term earlier in the talk, I am a woman, hear me roar. When you sit on this concept, I am a woman, and it can be easily demonstrated, look at me, I'm a woman. And a scientist comes around and say, whatever makes you a woman, I can surgically eliminate it. Now would you be a woman? Number one. If not, who would you that be then? How would you define yourself now? If every characteristic that defined you as a woman has been medically altered, who are you now? What is your idea about yourself?
I will change to a new one.
Now you will look for an alternate definition. Some of you might know a name called Charles Bono.
Yeah.
Cher's daughter. She was a beautiful, blonde, little, thin girl they used to bring on the show when they used to sing the final duet, I Got You, Baby. And as she grew up, she stopped identifying herself as a pretty brown girl. And she said, my body may be of a woman, but I am a man inside. And then she went through the surgical alteration. And she became a man. And now she has a relationship. She has a girlfriend. He has a girlfriend in his life now. So the question is, how is she defining herself now? So long as you hold on to your definition of who you are and fight for it, defend it, overvalue it, you will remain an egotistical human being. The moment you realize that what is my definition of me, there are others who may have the same definition but a better quality me. See the subtlety? If I am a Nobel laureate, is there another smarter scientist who has double, triple Nobel Prizes? Yes, that is possible in the world. That will tend to change my definition of myself and how much importance I am putting on that definition. The reason I gave you the example of Socrates telling Alexander, every time it bothers you, don't you know who I am? Pull these maps and start placing yourself on different maps. It will get rid of that nagging question. Don't you know who I am? Which is the question that stays with us all through our life. A teenager comes and he has an idea about himself. I already know what my father doesn't know. Ajit Singh just pointed out that if you try to tell to the children, they can tell you, no, we don't need to learn from you, we already know. And what is their defense?
You are already.
I went through that defense exactly. My children told me we are university graduates, and so am I. And they said, but you didn't go to the American university.
At your time, the books were.
I had no defense. Your time, university is, at that time, iPod wasn't developed yet. The nanotechnology wasn't developed yet. Cosmology wasn't measuring 13.7 billion light years of data in the cosmos. Yes, child, you are right. But there are things in life that are independent of measuring instruments. And they may not learn it from you. Why? Because they have their definition of their ego. And they are willing to stack their ego against yours.
And they don't even know that.
And they will not back off.
They don't know anything that they are doing it.
So, the definition of ego. If you want to manage your ego, start asking yourself, what do I think of myself? In every possible area. And then ask the next question, have I perfected that characteristic? And you will remember Shakespeare's line, claim not perfection, because perfection is divine. But we do that all the time, don't we? I am the best in the business. Isn't it? Won't you say, I am the best real estate manager in my life?
I say I'm the best negotiator.
Okay.
You already said
You are
that.
the best negotiator.
Something like that.
He can manage the garage best.
No.
He is the husband of the best negotiator.
Let us not go there.
And she can be the cook best.
Yeah, you're right.
I am willing to stack my cooking against any woman in the universe. What does that mean? Your definition of your ego. The day you ask these two questions, that's all. First question, what is my perception of myself? Second question, have I reached the perfection? If the answer comes as yes, that's ego speaking. Now you are further enslaved by your own ego. If it says, yes, I have perfected it.
But how will they measure that?
There is no measurement, it's a feeling.
Then why ask the question?
It is a feeling. You need to bring that feeling which starts creating some humility in you. And as the humility evolves, ego will start taking the back seat. If the humility does not evolve, and every question brings the answer, yes, I know, then when will you learn the day you meet a more perfect ego than yours. That will create the humility. It will force the humility in you. It will humble you publicly. And yet then you will learn. You'll be forced to learn. And the nature will not leave you alone till you learn that lesson. For every single human being, in every single relationship. And the biggest clash of the egos takes place between married couples. That's the biggest battleground. Two egos bunting heads against each other. One telling the other, you humiliate yourself in front of me. The other saying, no, you humiliate yourself. And both saying, well, let's continue then. And the heaven that has been given to you by that Creator, you turn it into hell. Because there is no hell worse than a miserable family life. You don't need to go find hell. It's right there in your home. And it can be converted into heaven instantaneously. How? Be the first one to be humble. That's it. Very simple formula.
Again and again.
Every time the opportunity presents, be humble.
It feels so good not to say I. I'm thinking that if one day I decide not to say I at all, it will be so comforting. We should all try not to say
Yes.
I.
These are beautiful techniques. Just for one day in your life, make a promise to yourself, I will communicate without using the word I. Try that.
Try it.
And let me tell you,
Not even 5 minutes.
it is not a false, misleading statement. It is a true statement and it can be done. It has been done. You just turn your entire communication into passive voice rather than active voice. It will go against the dictate of the modern English language training, because the English language training says you use the subject first. In passive voice, the subject becomes the object and the object becomes the subject. Modern English teacher will tell you that you are doing something fundamentally wrong. But a mystic will say, good, keep up with the practice.